So I know the last video was long, but this one should go fairly quick. Unless, of course, you struggle with solving equations, then you may want to go look at some other stuff. We spent a day on just solving like regular equations, distributing, combining like terms, stuff like that. Just making sure we knew how to solve equations, because with radicals, it's pretty simple. Our goal is to basically get to where number one is, where the radical is by itself, nothing in front, nothing behind, or whatever. We don't care about anything underneath. We can take care of that later, but we need the radical by itself. We will square both sides, and the radical disappears, and then 6 squared becomes 36. It's that simple. On this one, let's move the 7 over. Radical x equals 10. Well, now I can just square both sides, and x is now 100. Minus 15, square both sides. Now on this one, we got rid of the 1, and then I wrote square root of c equals -3. But if this negative, which is there, if this negative doesn't come down here, then it's not going to be right, because square root of c does not equal -3, because we know that there's no way to get a negative number from a square root. So it's actually -1 square root c. So we can multiply by -1 or divide by -1. Or really just change the sign. Square root of c equals 3, and now we can cancel out the root and radical, and 3 squared is 9, just like that. So we got maybe a little more complicated on some of these. I don't feel like I have to talk through them a whole lot. Move the 7. I got this +4 underneath, but the radical is by itself, so let's square both sides, then move the 4. Same thing here. Move the 6, square both sides, move the 9, divide by 3. This one here, I have radical equals radical. Well, if I don't have anything else, I'm ready to square actually both sides. And then I get here. Just make sure you do not lose track of your equal sign when you're moving stuff from one side to the other, especially with two variables. I could have done, minus 4x or whatever. Doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer. Now, technically, we should be plugging all of these back in just to make sure they work. But usually when they only give you one answer, you're okay. 12 plus 4 is 16. I can square root that. Yay, announcements. I can plug 30 times 3 is 90 minus 81. I can square root 81. 24 plus 1 or 32 minus 7, those give me positive 25. I can square both those. Here's some more where I can square both sides. On this one, I add the 4, and then I don't get to square both sides because I got to get rid of cube root, so I cube both sides. Same thing here. I cube both sides to get rid of cube root, and that just goes in the calculator. That and subtract and then divide, and c is a big number, but not a big deal. So yeah, now here's where it gets, nope, I think I skipped these. Here's where it gets maybe a little more complicated now that we have like a variable on the other side. Square both sides, still get rid of the radical. But then we have x squared, and x squared is not new to us because we're used to seeing this from previous lessons. So all I got to do is go, well, if I can get everything on the same side and equal 0, I know how to deal with something equals 0. So we're going to move these over, and I'm here. And as you can see, this just gets factored, and this just gets my two solutions. Now here's the deal. This is where we definitely have to start double checking, because maybe they both work. Maybe it's fantastic. Maybe only one of them works. Maybe actuality, neither one of them work. So once you get x equals a number, then we can just plug back into the original problem. So like if we start with -4, 4 minus 3 times -4. Well, that's 4 plus 12. And of course it said equals x. Well, square root of 16 equals -4. Not quite. So I'm not sure -4 could work. 4 minus 3, because that would be a 1, equals square root of 1 equals 1. The 1 should work. And here's another way of doing it. And you can see I kind of got this far with this one also. I'm going to show you both the same. Square both sides, but this one does not just distribute. This is foiling. Make sure you go back to like the first videos of this playlist. Foiling, foiling, foiling. Then we can move everything over. Then we can factor. Then we can double check. So here's how you do it. So pull out your calculator. You just go to y equals. And at the top of the page, it said graph each side to find the intersection point. The intersection point is the one solution that will work. So, all right. So, square root of 4 minus 3x goes in y1 and x goes into y2. And we found out negative 4 didn't work, but 1 did. And you can actually just use your calculator to tell you that when x is negative 4, they are not the same. One's positive, one's negative. When x is 1, they are. And you can go to the table. Negative 4 doesn't work, but 1 does. And oh, we start getting errors. Why? Well, that's because our graph stops. Because if I try to plug in 2, that would be 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and we can't square root a negative number. It would work on this side too, where, let me type it in for you guys. Now this says p, but it's just a variable, so we use x. And so we're looking to see if either 7 or negative 2 is our answer, because honestly it could be either one. So let's see. Well, probably not negative 2, probably the 7. And again, these go to the table. Negative 2 doesn't work, but when you go down to 7, come on, there we go. 7 gives us the same answer twice. So these weren't too crazy bad. Solve this one. Now I said, look, we have to double check both of them because it is possible for like my square root graph and my straight line to cross multiple times. So we don't want to just go, oh, it's always going to be 1 or it's always going to be the negative. And it's also possible for them to maybe not really ever cross at all, especially if this one's like super steep and they're just never going to meet or whatever. That's why we got to double check. And we could plug it back in or look at our graph. Either way should tell us. Yeah, that's the next one, I think. Hold on, let me look. Yep, that's for the next video. So yeah, this one wasn't too bad. Hopefully you can solve the quiz. Okay. Make sure you double check your answers because some of them may work, some of them may not. Both may work. It just depends on the graph. So double check your answers.